Okay, I want to talk about this film. You can call me completely crazy, but I'm just going to say it right out of the gate. The Furious is even better than The Raid. Yeah, I said it. Now, I know what you're thinking, and honestly, I couldn't believe it either. But the sheer insanity of this movie, not only in terms of the raw blistering action, but how flawlessly it is choreographed, is off the charts. There are actually sequences in this film where I was sitting in the theater genuinely scratching my head, whispering to myself, how is this even humanly possible? Kenji Tanigaki essentially did the impossible here. Look guys, we all kind of share this collective mindset that there isn't much room left for true creativity in the action movie genre. We tend to believe that cinematic masterpieces like The Raid or the brutal sequences in Chris Hemsworth's Extraction have already achieved absolute perfection. We put them on a pedestal. They are god-tier action films, but somehow, someway, Kenji Tanigaki's The Furious takes that established perfection and surpasses it. And honestly, it doesn't just surpass them, it laps them. It builds a throne so ridiculously high that it's going to take decades for another film to even come close to sitting on it, let alone taking the crown. It will genuinely take a lifetime for the genre to replicate what The Furious has achieved right here. From the jump, what you get is non-stop, high-octane, bone-crunching, hand-to-hand combat. It's just one massive set piece after another. And the crazy part is that every single sequence actively sets the bar higher than the last. By the time you reach the climax, the adrenaline is just unbelievable. You know exactly the kind of unhinged, unapologetic movie you're watching when in the first major set piece, our main dude gets absolutely clocked by a literal truck. And what does he do? He just walks it off, sticks his limbs into some ice water, and is fully ready to even go harder in the very next scene. It perfectly sets the tone. It tells the audience, buckle up, because the normal laws of human limits do not apply here. It completely blew my mind that even though this film leans on a very familiar single-line revenge story, it still manages to feel incredibly refreshing. A huge part of that is the perfect blend of blood and gore within the action scenes. Absolutely nothing feels overly done or purely gratuitous. Every hit, every break, every drop of blood is perfectly calculated. What I really respect about Kenji Tanagaki's direction is that he never relies on excessive gore just to get a cheap shock out of the audience. Don't get me wrong guys, trust me, this movie features way more violence than you usually see on screen, but it never crosses the line into that edgy, gore-porn territory. It's actually outstanding how restrained the literal gore is when you compare it to the sheer volume of the action. This is entirely due to the masterful way the action scenes are choreographed. The violence serves the fight, not the other way around. So let's talk about the story. The film follows a mute Chinese man whose daughter gets brutally kidnapped. As you can guess, he absolutely loses his mind trying to find her. He will do anything, go to any length, and cross any line to get her back. What ensues is an absolute relentless killing spree. He's less of a man and more like a fired bullet that is only going to stop when it utterly destroys its target. He's an unstoppable bullet train of vengeance. Along this bloody path, while tearing through his enemies, he crosses paths with another guy who's desperately searching for his own missing girlfriend. Realizing they share a common enemy, they join forces and start dismantling the bad guys, one broken bone at a time. The whole sequence where his daughter actually gets abducted is incredibly intense. It's shot in a way that will keep you absolutely glued to the edge of your seat. When Brian Lee finally enters the picture shortly after, the film gets a massive booster dose of fun and pure adrenaline. Let me tell you about Brian Lee in this movie. This guy is a literal freight train of chaotic violence. His fury and rage manifested into human flesh, painted directly at the camera. I absolutely loved his unique fighting style. The way he moves his massive body combined with these brutal skull-cracking headbutts he dishes out is pure unadulterated chaos. Every single time he was on screen, it was an absolute joy. It's almost like watching someone with mystical powers. He's a huge, towering guy, but the way he maneuvers through a fight is so effortless, it feels like it breaks the laws of space and time. For me, he's hands down the best character in the entire film. There is a specific fight sequence just before the interval involving these guys wielding hammers. And I kid you not, I was literally jumping in my seat. And later on, when he makes his comeback after almost being left for dead, God damn, that was the best surprise of the entire movie. It all leads up to this utterly bonkers climax involving four guys. Brian Lee's character just goes completely crazy in that moment. It's like his fuse completely blows and he starts fighting everyone, refusing to take anyone's side. It's a complete free for all and easily the standout fight sequence of the whole runtime. Then, of course, we have to talk about Yayan. If you recognize this legend, congratulations, you have excellent taste in action movies. As expected, his fight sequence is phenomenal. However, I really want to take a second to talk about the final boss. I'm going to keep this spoiler free. But there is a scene where this boss mistakenly kills someone, and the execution of that sequence is deeply shocking. What happens right before it unfolds? I just never expected this guy to be that crazy. It was a genuine jaw drop moment. And can we take a moment to give some major kudos to whatever tailor made this villain's suit? Guys, he's performing these insanely complex high speed action sequences while wearing a perfectly fitted suit without ripping a seam. There are moments where he's moving so insanely fast that it doesn't even look real for a human being. Again, you find yourself asking, how is this even possible? The whole movie is packed with moments exactly like this. Honestly, it's really hard to rank which sequence is actually the best. I'm sitting here thinking about it and I genuinely cannot pick a favorite because the dial is perfectly stuck at 100. I will say toward the end there is this one bicycle sequence that felt a little bit too much. I actually find it kind of funny, intentionally or not. But then you get the hallway and stairs sequence, which is just straight up epic. There is something about action sequences filled in tightly closed confined spaces that always look incredibly dynamic. A massive part of why this all works so well is the camera work. Every single fight sequence is shot wide. We actually get to see the whole fight play out. It's not aggressively chopped up with a new cut every 5 seconds to hide bad stunt work. Some scenes feel incredibly long, letting the choreography breathe. While they might not be true single take oneers, because of some cleverly hidden cuts, they absolutely feel like long takes. Everything is just so meticulously shot and flawlessly choreographed. At its core, the father-daughter dynamic is surprisingly strong. There's this one phenomenal sequence where the protagonist is riding a bike straight down a hallway and his daughter is sitting on the back, absolutely trashing goons with a heavy iron rod as they speed by. It is so brilliantly put together. It also delivers this massive wave of satisfaction, seeing the victim actively fighting back and taking brutal revenge on her abusers. Despite the Furious being so fast-paced and aggressively edited, it still manages to carve out the proper time to build that father-daughter relationship. Because of that groundwork, when she goes missing, the audience actually feels the emotional hurt. It makes watching him turn into a ruthless killing machine feel incredibly earned and purely satisfying. Ultimately, the Furious delivered exactly what I wanted and then some. Experiencing those top-tier martial arts scenes on the big screen was one of the most satisfying theatrical experiences I've had in a long time. Every single punch, every kick, every throw felt genuinely hard-hitting and masterfully executed. That intense truck chase scene right after he realizes his child is kidnapped was easily another favorite part of mine. The tension had me completely locked in the entire time, and the stylistic choices made some of those fights feel like you were watching a high-budget fighting game cutscene suddenly spring to life in the best way possible. I highly recommend this to everyone who loves action movies packed with heavy hand-to-hand combat. I had an absolute blast watching it, and I guarantee you will too. So that's going to do it for today's video. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do me a favor and hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more action-packed reviews and videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.